Hi sweeties! Welcome back to the channel. And oh my goodness, grab your popcorn, grab your snacks, because this is gonna be a long ass story from back when I was in my Catholic traditional high school back in Brazil. And in a way it's kind of like a funny story, but then I ended up getting bullied quite bad because of what happened, so get your snacks because we're gonna go way back in time. So before I go ahead and tell you about my saucy past at this traditional ass Catholic school, and please subscribe because I post new videos twice a week. Activate the notifications so you know whenever I post a new video, and give us a thumbs up because it really helps the channel. So this story happened back when I was 14, and this was like legit 10, almost 11 years ago. I'm old. And if I'm not mistaken, that would be like high school age in the US, right? I think. However, I was living in Brazil, and I think in Brazil that's probably still middle school. If not, it's like the first year of high school. I'm not 100% sure because it's like slightly different. Anyway, I was like super young. And I was basically a very shy and nerdy girl. So it's very surprising that I got myself into that mess. And when I was at school, I used to like move schools a lot because I was just weird. Like, I was very like extremely shy and I had trouble making friends, or like other things would happen, like we wouldn't be able to afford the school anymore and then I would have to go to a cheaper school. I've been to public school too, but in Brazil some of the private schools are not like necessarily for rich people. They're like affordable private schools as well, because the public schools in Brazil are so bad. So bad. I've been to one as well, but then this is another story time. Well, you know, just a disclaimer so you don't think I was like super rich child, which, I mean, I wish I was, but I wasn't. So when I was 13 to 14, I was going to this school that was quite near my house. Like, my mom was very happy about it, and it was, you know, just a regular school. However, I really had trouble making friends because I was so painfully shy and I was very nerdy. Like, I don't know why kids think it's a bad thing, but I used to like do well at school and really like focus during lessons and stuff, but apparently that was really uncool, so I didn't really have many friends. And I think I had like one friend for a while, but then she moved schools and I was like, damn. I would literally just like walk around on my own during break, and whenever we had to do like group activities, I would not have like anyone to do them with and no one would talk to me. Sometimes they would only talk to me like right before a test, so I would like help them out and give them my answers and stuff. And you know, it was really sad. Like, I was very fragile at that time. I was going through puberty and stuff, and I wasn't that confident, so to go to a school and not have any friends at all, it was really hard for me. But I had this best friend from my previous school before that. And she had moved to this Catholic school, right? Quite far from my house. And it was a proper, like, traditional Catholic school. Like, the principal was a nun. Like, literally there were nuns, like, living there at the school. It was a Catholic school. And I was never Catholic. My family is kind of Catholic, but they don't really go to church or anything. So I guess we're just not religious. But I begged my mom every single day for months for her to let me go to that Catholic school because my best friend was there, and I was so desperate to, you know, just to have a friend and not feel so lonely at school. So yeah, I was constantly sitting on my own and then coming home like upset, crying, telling my mom, please let me go to Claudia's school. That was her name. please, please, please let me go. I promise I'm gonna still be a good student. The school was actually a better school than the school I was going to, so I was like, come on, please. So my mom was just so nice and understanding, and even though the school was further away and stuff, and we were not Catholic, she let me go to the bloody Catholic school. Woo! And I was so happy at the time. I think it was actually one of the happiest times, apart from now, like I think it was literally one of the happiest times of my life. I had so much fun in the first 6 months at that school, because I started going there actually in the middle of the school year, so like it was really cool because I was the only new person and everybody was being so nice to me, and my best friend was there and I was making all these new friends, and they actually had extracurricular activities that my other school didn't have. So there was like dance and music and like artistic things that we could do. It was so cool and I was just so happy to go there. So fast forward to more or less 6 months after that, the new school year was starting and some shit happened, and my best friend Claudia stopped talking to me. It's not really relevant to the story, but just so you have like the background story of what was going on with my friendships. This girl that had been my friend since we were like little kids, one day I met her at break and then she was like, no, I don't want to hang out with you anymore, and she just stopped talking to me. And I have a theory that she was very jealous of me and my best friend Laura, that is still my best friend. You've probably seen her in my Brazil vlogs. She's like my best friend, and she was initially best friends with Claudia, and then when I moved to that school we all became friends, and then Claudia abandoned us. I'm using her real name, but Jesus, we were kids and I mean, you're never ever gonna find her, so I think that's okay. So me and Laura ended up being best friends, and we are still best friends to this day. And for some reason, I stopped having as many friends as I had on the first 6 months that I was at that school. I don't know why. I don't know if I wasn't like a novelty anymore because I wasn't a new girl anymore, or if I was maybe going back to my like normal shy ways, but I wasn't really talking to as many people anymore. And don't get me wrong, I was never popular. I was still like pretty nerdy, like a good girl, very quiet, very shy. Didn't get invited to parties or anything, like nothing like that, especially after the 6 months of me being at that school. So it was usually just me, Laura, and another girl at that time. And this other girl, I think I can use their names because they're still my friends. So this other girl was called Yuri. It's a Japanese name. And she was a very, very, very talented ballerina. Like, I was so proud of her. She used to, apart from school, she used to do hours and hours of ballet every day, and she was so talented. She was like almost professional level when we were kids. She was wonderful. And I think that was the first time I came into contact with someone that was artistic and talented and different like that, and I was mesmerized. I thought she was so cool, and I just wished so badly that like I had a talent and that I could do something artistic, but I didn't know how to do anything. And there was every year a school talent show, and it was like a competition, and the winner got a trophy and whatever, which was a very unusual thing for Brazil, because you usually hear of American schools having talent shows and stuff. Brazilian schools don't usually have talent shows like that, but this school for some reason had them. I don't know if they were trying to imitate American schools with all the like extracurricular artistic activities and the talent show, but they had all that, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever because none of my previous schools had anything like that. So Yuri used to always participate on these talent shows, and I remember she actually won the whole thing one year because she was so talented, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever, and I wanted to be a part of that talent show so badly. I'm sorry I'm like rambling, but I want to tell you like the whole background so you can actually imagine everything and understand why I got myself into the situation this story is about. So fast forward to like a year after I moved to that school, my ballerina friend Yuri got offered a place at this amazing ballet school in Germany, and we were so proud of her and, you know, sad that she wouldn't be with us anymore, but so happy and proud of her. So she moved to Germany to be a ballerina. Wow. And then it was just me and Laura. And like I said, we weren't very integrated with the rest of the class. We didn't talk to anyone else. We weren't invited to anything. We were nerds. And like super quiet and super good girls. We didn't get in trouble. We didn't like talk during classes. We were good as girls. So in the meantime, something else happened at home and that really changed my life forever. And you're gonna laugh, but me and my mom, we had a very, very old TV. Seriously, that thing looked like it was from the 50s. It was like one of those box TVs with like the curved screen. It was very, very old. I think it used to belong to my grandmother. It was a very old TV. And basically, you used to only be able to get some of the channels, but we couldn't watch all of the open channels. So basically, all I could watch were like cartoons or Brazilian soap operas. Like, I didn't have really any access to pop culture because of that. Also, we still had like dial-up internet. I didn't have a phone, or if I had a phone, it wasn't a smartphone. Like, I didn't have access to pop culture at all. Like, I didn't know who any of the famous international singers were. But one day, I don't know what happened. I don't know if that old ass TV stopped working, but my mom bought a new TV. We still didn't have like cable channels or anything, but now we were able to watch other open channels. And that included the Brazilian MTV. And oh my goodness, my mind was blown. I was obsessed with that shit. I would come home every day from school and I would watch it and watch all the music videos with all the American singers and stuff, and I thought it was awesome. Like, that's all I needed, all that music stuff and pop culture that I didn't really have access to. It was just so cool. And I soon became very, very, very obsessed with Britney Spears. That's why my cat is called Britney. Because I still really like her, I'm not gonna lie. So I was very obsessed with Britney Spears because she just represented that whole world that I didn't know anything about, like music and glamour and fame and sexiness and confidence. Like, she was just so cool and polemic, and I was like, oh my god, I need to be like that. So my nerdy self was obsessed with Britney Spears, and I had pictures of her like all over my bedroom, and I think I probably like had a crush on her. Thinking now, I started like kind of practicing singing on my own because I just wanted to be Britney, right? I wanted to be that cool, and wow, it was just such a dream and such like a distant thing that seemed like it was from another planet. I love that stuff so much. And to be honest, that's like the reason why I moved to London and why I studied music and why I'm about to get my music degree. Woo, 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 in a couple of months. Woo. So like literally that changed my whole life. I know it sounds silly, but it was like so important to me. So like all of that was happening at the same time as my ballet friend was going to Germany and stuff. So I was very, very excited about performing arts and music and all that. So it was then time for that year's talent show. And I decided, you know what? I'm gonna perform. I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna perform, and it's gonna be amazing, and I'm gonna win this whole thing. Bless her. So we had to sign up, right? Like a month before the talent show. So I told my friend Laura, hey, I'm gonna perform at the talent show. I'm gonna sign up today. And my friend was like shook because I was the shyest person, nerdiest person ever. So nobody ever expected me to perform, right? And also nobody has ever seen me like performing or doing anything artistic. So Laura was like, cool, what are you doing? And I said, it was a surprise. I said, it's a surprise, I'm not gonna tell you, and let's not tell anyone that I'm even performing. So that day I went to the principal's office. Keep in mind, the principal was a nun. The school was very Catholic. Like, they would literally like make us pray and sometimes attend church things, and they would play like church music every day at the school, and they would have like crosses and Catholic things on the walls. It was like proper Catholic. So I went to the principal's office, and as I said, the principal was this cute little nun, and she was like, hi! And I told her I wanted to perform in the talent show. And she was like, great, here's this form, you just have to fill this in and then you can participate. So I filled in the form. I had to kind of like describe what my performance was gonna be, but I was kind of like secretive about it, right? I wrote it in a way that they couldn't really tell 100% what my performance was. And there was this part of the form like about props, asking if they needed to provide you any props and stuff. And I said, all I need is a chair. Oh my freaking god. Can you tell where this is going? So for the next month, I practiced every day, and I remember literally practicing the performance over and over 30 times a day. I used to count and make sure I got like my 30 repetitions of the performance every day. And my mom was the only person I told about what I was gonna do. So I used to make her watch it and give me feedback and stuff. And to this day, I'm shook that she let me perform that at school. I'm shook. I actually need to call her at some point this week and ask her, like, what the hell was she thinking? Anyway, but she was literally the only person on the planet that actually knew what the hell I was performing, okay? So a month later, it was finally the time for me to perform. And I got all dressed up. I did like a full face of makeup. Well, to the best of my ability, I didn't really know how to do makeup. And I chose this outfit. I swear to you, it was literally a pair of knee-high, like latex boots with like really high heels on. Actually, I still have them. Let me grab them. Seriously, 1 second. So, these are the boots. Imagine my 14-year-old self wearing these boots. But that wasn't just it. I wore these boots and black fishnet tights. And then a very short black mini skirt, like very short. And brace yourself, a black cropped top. So my whole stomach was out. I was wearing a very, very short skirt, fishnet tights, and these boots. It was literally a stripper outfit. But what I was thinking at the time, I swear to you, I was really, really innocent. When I was 14, I had never even kissed anyone. Like, I was a very, like I said a billion times, I was a very shy, nerdy girl, and I was so innocent. So when I looked at that outfit, I didn't see like stripper, I saw like Britney Spears, and I was like trying to look like Britney Spears, and I just thought it was like pretty. I wasn't trying to be sexual or anything. I just literally thought it looked nice. So I remember I put like this long summer coat over it, and I went to school and nobody could see my outfit. Nobody really knew I was performing because nobody knew who the f I was. Just my friend Laura, she like saw me like covering my outfit with this coat, and she was really curious, and I remember her looking at my boots and my fishnets, because you could see that, you know, even with the coat on, and she was like, oh damn, girl, what are you wearing? Like, what the hell are you doing? What type of performance are you doing with these boots and these fishnets? And I was like, oh, it's a surprise, I'm not gonna tell you, I'm not gonna tell anyone. So then everybody that was performing went backstage at the school theater. It was kind of like a nice theater, and I think I've never been that nervous in my whole entire life. My hands were shaking and my legs, I was literally like shaking like this. I couldn't stay still. So before it was my turn, they closed the curtains. I grabbed my chair, took off my summer coat, walked to the center of the stage, and I need to demonstrate. And I sat on the chair kind of like this with the outfit on, right? So they open the curtains and the music starts. And it's Toxic by Britney Spears. Ah! And wait. It isn't just Toxic by Britney Spears. It is like the karaoke version, so like without Britney's vocals. It was just the instrumental part. And I was holding a microphone. Pretend this hairbrush is my microphone. So the music starts. Baby, can't you see I'm falling? A guy like you should wear a warning. It's dangerous. I'm falling. Yes, it was a singing and dancing Britney Spears performance on the chair and around the chair. And it's very much like a nightclub stripper thing, I think. I mean, what do I know? And I'm not at all saying that it's a bad thing. Strippers are awesome. But I was 14 and it was a Catholic school, and nobody was expecting that from me. And I imagine probably everybody on the crowd was like shook. Imagine, like, if you are still teenagers and you go to school, imagine like the nerdiest, shyest person in your school suddenly performing Britney Spears dressed as a stripper dancing on a chair. Oh my god, it was so embarrassing. So embarrassing. But it just made me so happy to do that stuff. So I don't remember actually looking at anyone's faces because I was so nervous and I was shaking, but I was trying to pretend like I was okay because I was like performing. And I just remember, like, depending on like the moves I would make, if it was like a sexier move, if I was like opening my legs or anything like that, oh my god, if like the crowd would scream. And yeah, that was the performance. So I got off the stage and then I was like, oh damn, now I have to face everybody. And that evening I didn't talk to anyone. I just went home with my mom like real quick. So I didn't hear anyone's comments and I had no idea what the repercussion was gonna be. So I think that was probably a Friday. So when I went back to school on Monday, nobody said anything to me at first, but I could tell like people were looking and like remembering me and like noticing who I was, right? Because before, most people didn't even know I was there. So I remember people like looking at me, but nobody was like coming up to me and saying anything positive about it. So I was like, oh shit. But you know, it was still all good considering. So fast forward to like a week or so after that, we had a field trip. We were going to a museum with a bunch of kids that were in the same year as us, but were in different classes. So literally about like 200, 300 kids going to this museum, right? So we get on the coach and stuff and make our way to this museum. I was sitting with my best friend Laura because we were inseparable and we didn't have any other friends. So we arrived at the museum with all the students. And before we go in, we all line up to get food at this kind of like street market type of thing where they sell like traditional Brazilian food and stuff. So me and Laura were there like just very quietly lining up to get our food, and then suddenly I look to my left and then I see this group of like kind of rich popular girls like looking at me. Like, not just looking at me, staring at me. And one of them was giving me the dirtiest look ever. She was like just looking at me with pure rage. She looked so angry. She was just looking at me with like hate in her eyes. It looked like she wanted to kill me, seriously. She was really like looking at me like I was scum. I think she probably thought I was like an ungodly like whore, and God knows what she thought of me. God knows if people thought I was actually a stripper because of what I was wearing and the type of like chair dance performance thing I was doing. She was just looking at me with such rage. I'll never forget her face. And then she said like toxic, like making fun of me because the song I was singing was called Toxic. So she was like toxic, huh? And then her friends like mimicked her and said toxic. And then from that day onwards, for like a whole year, everywhere I went in the school, someone would like shout toxic or like mimic me and really make me feel so bad. I mean, I know it wasn't violent or anything, but imagine every 5 minutes, like you walk into the class, someone screams toxic. Or like during the class, you're like paying attention or focusing, someone says that. And then, or like during a test, you're doing your test and then someone screams toxic and makes fun of you, so you totally like lose concentration. Or even worse, when we had like gym classes and there were like a bunch of us together, like a bunch of kids would say that like at the same time and laugh at me when I was walking through the corridors, literally every 5 minutes for a year. So many people were saying that, and I just felt so self-conscious. I didn't want to go to school anymore. I just felt so upset, and I can see now why kids would make fun of my performance. It still doesn't make it okay for them to do that, but I can see why they would. But it was so traumatizing, and it really like brought me down and affected my self-esteem a lot. And I remember there was an event for parents and students at the end of that year, and I brought my mom and all of us, like hundreds and hundreds of students and parents, were at the theater again where I had performed, and it was kind of like an event to celebrate the end of the school year. So the school was like playing some different slides with pictures from the year and stuff, and then they played these slides that were like pictures of literally every student really quickly, like one after the other, on a huge ass screen. How embarrassing, I know, like why the hell would the school do that? And then when my photo showed up, like literally almost everybody screamed toxic, and I remember just feeling so ashamed and embarrassed, especially because my mom was there and I didn't want her to see that, and she didn't really say anything and I didn't say anything, and it was just so humiliating and embarrassing. But even after all that, I still really loved performing. I decided that I wasn't gonna give up and I wasn't gonna stop something that I loved so much because of judgmental people. So I started taking singing lessons and acting lessons and dance lessons, and I started really like focusing on art and stuff. I never stopped studying music, and I'm gonna get my music degree now, yay! And you know what? I don't usually do that, but I was curious and I looked up one of my bullies, and turns out she's actually tried to be a YouTuber and didn't get anywhere at all with it. And I know it's a bit petty to to say that. I mean, I wish the best to everybody. We were just kids, but sometimes being different and creative and standing up for the things you love pays off. Most of the people that bullied me never did anything different in their lives, and now they're just back there doing their boring ass jobs, and I'm here in London working with YouTube and doing music and being free. So if you're in school or even at work, if you're getting bullied or if people are trying to humiliate you, fuck them, because all the people that have ever made anything significant or important were different from the rest. Okay, enough of emotional Please give me a thumbs up if you would like me to post more story times. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Stay strong and ignore the haters and the bullies. Thank you so much for watching and have a very, very lovely day. Mwah!